Hey guys, it's Casual Friday. That means it's Medium Nancy Matz Friday, and today's topic is possession. What happens if a wife's dead husband possesses her new lover? We'll find out in a few minutes. Be right back. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Wow, couldn't find, just did not want to engage. Hey, happy Friday, everybody. How's everybody doing? Finally made it to the weekend. I got my AC on like I announced the other day. It's going to be like this for the rest of the season. You know, there's days that maybe I'll get lucky. I don't have to have it on, but got to have that AC on. I'll die of heat stroke back here. It is hot. Today was 96. Anyway, my name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. We are 45 strong up and down the state, which means if you think you have something going on, ghost-wise, paranormal-wise, we can get you. It just might take us a few days because California is this huge state. But we can definitely get you. In the case that we can't get out there right away, we do have mediums on staff who can phone you and talk to you about what may or may not be going on. And in most cases, they can calm the energy down until we get out there. That being said, if you're watching from Facebook tonight, and a lot of you are, I'm just trying to maneuver my little buttons here. If you're watching from Facebook tonight, and a lot of you are, please follow us if you haven't done so already, especially if you like the show. If you like the show, follow us. We're always looking for extra followers. The more the merrier. Also, again, if you do like the show, leave us a thumbs up, happy heart, which I can't do here, but a heart or a smiley or whatever, just to show us that you care, that you like us. Okay, just show us some love, because that would be greatly appreciated. And also, don't be shy. Come on into the chat room and have a good chat amongst yourselves. And if I'm able to get in there and see what's going on, we can answer your questions and whatnot. So come on into the chat room, because what that does, if you guys have ever wondered what FYP means when you see that when you're on social media places, FYP means for you page. So with you guys interacting with us, what that does is it attracts the attention of the main computer at Facebook and everywhere else. Twitter, Twitch, wherever, all the social media. And it makes it distribute the show out farther. So that's why we like to encourage that stuff, okay? And also, be sure to share the show if you like it, especially when we're live. Hey, there's a little show over here I'd like you to watch. All right? And if you're watching from YouTube, and a lot of you are as well, please feel free to subscribe. Same thing like I just announced with Facebook. Just feel free to subscribe, comment in the chat room, leave us happy faces and things. I really appreciate it. And share it. Share the show while we're on the air. I really appreciate it. And that's over at YouTube as well. Okay? Works the same way over at Twitch, works the same way at Twitter, works the same way at, TikTok, all those places. So I really appreciate it. Okay. See, I was real quick today with all this stuff. No big announcements today. Nothing's been going on. It's been hot. That's all I can say is hot. H-O-T. Capital letters all the way across. Okay? I do have a ticker running. And if you guys notice that, we're on a donation drive right now. We have $60 left to collect. And if you guys can find it in your heart to help keep us going and on the air, that would be great. You don't have to. That would be paypal.me/California Haunts or Venmo California Haunts. But you guys don't have to, right? We're all one big happy family here. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. I can safely say it without jinxing everything. Our numbers are in for the month from our RSS feed over at Apple and iHeartRadio and all those cool places. And we had topped off this month at 10,749 downloads this month, which is huge. We are up around, I would say, a good 4,000 downloads up. So we had 4,000 more downloads this month than we had last month. So real exciting stuff. The show is definitely taking off, and I'm real excited. And we're sitting around 873 subscribers over YouTube, and all our followers on Facebook on various pages that I have, and all that stuff. It's all starting to take off. Even Twitch. We got a good handful of followers over at Twitch now. So I'm real excited to announce that. I mean, that is huge, and it's all because of you guys. Each and every one of you who come in here every evening, every Sunday, and listen to me. And listen to me talk to people, or listen to me build Legos, or listen to me build gingerbread houses, or whatever the hell else I do, or when I'm out in the field, listen to me go live on scene. So it's all about you guys, and I want to thank each and every one of you for that. All right? All right, tonight we have Nancy Matz here. It's Casual Friday, and like I said in the intro, we're going to be talking about possession. But imagine if your spouse died. Doesn't necessarily have to be a man either. A husband, okay? This could be a wife even, or a lover. Imagine if your significant other dies. Let's just say that, and you suddenly realize that your new lover that you have is acting just like them. Certain traits and things are going on, and it dawns on you that your old lover is inside of your new lover, like a possession, right? What do? How do you react? Well, let's talk to Nancy, get some details on that, and yeah, let's get moving and see what she has to say about that. Uh-oh, you have no audio.
Oh, there we are.
Hey, Murphy's Law today.
Well, I was aware that you noticed me
Wow,
when
you're
we
breaking up.
started.
You're breaking up. Try to go out and come back in. You are breaking up.
The season, um,
Okay, guys, we got some
okay, good.
technical. Yeah, we got some technical stuff going on. Hang on. Bear with us. It happens. In fact, today is one of those days I'm going to warn you ahead of time about the internet, because when I came in here today, I was getting signs that the internet was running really slow. So, lots of news out there. It's Friday afternoon. Okay. We good? Can you hear me now?
How's this?
That's good. That's good.
Can you hear me now?
Technology. Yep. Technology, guys. Just bear with us. We're old. Okay. Did you get your hair cut? Okay. I can't hear you. Sound's gone.
Just 1, 2, 3.
Okay, there we go. Wow, the internet must be really bad today. Did you get your hair cut? Go out and come back in. Can't hear you at all now. Nancy's having technical difficulties. We'll just idly chit chat for a few minutes. It's Friday, and hopefully she can get things going on her end. Like I said, when I went to do the intro to the pardon?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I didn't do anything different than just share. It sounds like the fan, but this fan I've always had on, so I'm not sure where it's coming from. Maybe you're.
Oh, my AC's on.
It
so
sounds like
AC.
electricity. It sounds like. So let me. I mean, there's not much more we can do,
No,
So.
you're doing fine now. That's fine. You're doing fine now.
Well,
I can hear you clearly.
I don't know what. I didn't do anything different. Just switch from earbud to headset and back again. I want to get going. That's because I think you have do you have a creature show tonight?
I do not. Just rock on through.
Okay, so we're gonna maybe next week we are going to have a different topic, but I would like to, or we'll talk to Shar about this. This could be multiple shows. Tonight it's a negative possession with negative results. And so what this is going to be broken up into 3 little sections. And this is a client just 2 weeks ago. If we have time, I'll talk about a second case, and I'll make sure I probably won't have enough time. This is an individual, a gentleman. he's 65, not that it matters any, but he has a lot of world experience. He's a fixed or kind of an individual. So if you have problems, he seems to be an emotionally stable individual and he wants to help people. He has a profession that's in the medical world. And so he comes across very confident. I've known him since 1990.
Mhm.
It's just a lovely person. Anyway, a few years back, about 4 years back, his mother, who lives in the Bay Area, needed some help. So he quit his job, moved to where she is, started a new business there. Um, it's the kind he can do that. Anyway, so he's taking care of a very older adult. And though the grandmother hasn't passed away yet, he got a call from the wife of one of his friends for decades, decades. And the wife said, "My husband's passed away." Well, he was very distraught because he liked the gentleman a lot.
Mhm.
And he said, "Do you need me to come and help you sort through things, help you with your paperwork?" Because this is the kind of fellow that if you need help, he's going to drop everything and go because that's important. And she said, "Why don't you come just for a few weeks?" Well, a year later, not only is he helping her through life and counseling and everything, um, they have now become lovers. And when that happened, he said she was all into having him as a lover, but he felt the energy of the house shifted. And he was very surprised that you have to appreciate. I started in 1990. Look how far I've evolved as a human being, not only as a counselor, but in the gifts. He came at the same time. And it was a new environment for him, but he got into it. He got into the healing arts. He's a brilliant guy. He's written books. He's not someone just slouches around. He was just taken over like I was. And so he's very in tune to the energy of the room, like what we're doing. We're listening to the fan going, and we can feel it almost, you know. So you're in tune to the house, and he was saying it felt different. And he experienced some things coming during the next 6 months. And he called me up. I had scolded him a few years back. He was helping a woman and he fell in love with her. And I chewed him out for, "Why are you trying to fix everybody? Why don't you find somebody emotionally healthy like yourself?" And to make a long story short, I saw someone different for her also. And he he called me up. He said, "Please don't yell at me too loud." He says, "I know I did not listen to you, and I got myself in a situation, and I can't quite figure it all out." And so a year in, they're now sharing the bed. 6 months later, he's calling me. And what happened during the 6 months was that he became very depressed. He became somebody who didn't try to find work. He had a job in the new area since it's easy for him to set it up. In addition, some of the local nonprofits he was also involved in, and because he's very intelligent, they said, "Come on board, help us run it," all this. But when he got to the house, he found himself at his computer, which I spent a lot of time, but I'm not depressed. And he said it just was wrong. He then noticed that the wife was picking fights with him. I mean, the new friend. And he says, "I saw a personality change in her. And then I felt like there was a sense of jealousy. I wasn't around enough. I had a sense that I wasn't doing enough." He might be 67 because he did say he was very successful in life and he had um, he had plenty of Social Security. Making money was not his problem. He had plenty of money, so wasn't living off of her. But he got really depressed. This lady started, I'm going to say the wife, and it's not right, became so different that he couldn't figure her out. This woman was very intuitive. He couldn't figure out her actions. And in that 6 months, another one of the dead husband's best friends started showing up, Mr. J. And Mr. J um, is, I'm going to say it nice because I know he'll watch the show, and I don't want him to think I'm mixing the facts up too much, is uh, one of the handymans that women always like to call. And he's a very large person, big, tall, but not what we call the great thinker of the universe. Did I say it okay? And he realized, he said, she keeps calling him to come over, and she's battering him. And then he's getting depressed. Well, guess what? Nancy, help me, what's going. And I went, oh my gosh, because he said a statement, and all of a sudden my bells and whistles came up, and I said, do you do you know what's happening here? That dead husband won't leave the house. And that's what I want to discuss tonight because the dead husband, my allergies are here too, everybody. I love these stories that people give me. I just go, wow, what's that guy, the dead husband is going like a ping pong ball between the wife and the
Mhm.
lover. The husband is, I'm so sorry, I just got ready to cry. The dead husband, this man's friend, he wasn't a friend of the wife initially, it was the husband, if I remember right. Look at me, I'm going to cry on this. And he is jealous. The man was jealous. The dead man is jealous of my client. And he was pushing the man out by getting the wife to have feelings toward Mr. J. I go, no kidding. I went, holy tamale. And so they had this big blowout. And you have got to get out of my house. Without discussing it, when people break up, yes, it can be in a fiery moment, right? But normally there's a buildup and you can sense things. You can get it, you get it. He did not have a lot in the house. If I remember, he might have had storage unit. I can't remember, think so, but remember he had been at his mother's taking care of her. And I guess she's okay. He didn't bring her up again. She's doing fine. And also she blew up. Get out, get out, get out. And he reacted like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. And he wanted to talk to her, wanted to find out what the problem was. But yet he was becoming more depressed, giving off an aura of of, of non-compliancy. I mean, just don't want to do it. He belongs to organizations. He works. He's got plenty of money. There's nothing wrong. Oh, by the way, girls, he's very handsome. Oh, hello. you know, and there's nothing wrong with this man. So I thought to myself, I wonder what's really happened. That's when I discovered the husband going back and forth like a ping pong ball.
Mhm.
And so she asked him to leave, and he did leave, but he wanted to talk to her about this because he had a sense. It occurred to him that he had a sense of the husband. Now, I know you're thinking, wait a minute, it's Passover. Don't they acquire all the olives of the universe? Why wasn't, his, oh, wait a minute, I just picked up his mother did show up, but he didn't go. He was very attuned. He wanted to stay with the wife. And remember, I said the wife called my client. I need some help. You want me to come? Yes, dude. So, it wasn't like she was clinging to him only. She just reached out because it was a friend of her husband's. And so she tried to connect with him to talk about this. She just blew up. You are not to show up. I don't want to see your face. You've done me wrong. And my client went, I almost said his name. I'm sorry. Um, you've done me wrong. And the guy's going and says to me, and I know him. He's a nice man. He wouldn't do anybody wrong. There's all kinds of slamming and accusations. And at one point, if I remember, you can probably correct me if I got this wrong. You calling the police? You're going to be harassed. It's a harassment thing. Now remember when I said that harassment. Really? And this one he called me because it was just so big and so extraordinary. And a few weeks later, he did go over. And guess who's parked in the driveway? Guess who's moved in? Mr. J, right? The ex-husband, the dead husband, has got his way. He moved Mr. J in and got my client out. And please don't, no disrespect, please don't hear it wrong. Of the two men, my client would be a really good choice. Absolutely. But then again, if you're hearing this, I scold you about this. Sometimes I talk to my people, my clients. It's really important to know who you are as a person and
Mhm.
your weaknesses and strengths so that we you don't fall in the same pattern of relationships. You want to make sure that you are emotionally healthy by not jumping from one relationship to the other. Know who you are as a human being, your boundaries, your likes and dislikes. And then don't find somebody that needs fixing, because then you can't express yourself as a normal, as a healthy, mentally healthy human being. So she was a needy person. So on some level, I kind of thought, you need to find somebody who doesn't need to get fixed so that you can do your life and be really happy, be your own person. And we did talk about that. And had a client yesterday, sorry, yesterday. And at the end of the conversation, I says, she's a widow, daughter doesn't need her. I says, how exciting is it to express yourself and exercise that supposedly, free will, presumptions of free will, that you can make any decision for yourself. That's an exciting statement to me. Even though I'm married most of my life, 42 years total. And yeah, in this marriage, we've given each other permission because we're married late in life, 21 years now, to be who we need to be. And I, I think that if you can find somebody to be emotionally healthy with you, that is me. I'm emotionally healthy all the time, nor is my husband. But for each other, I don't have to fix him. He doesn't have to fix me. Okay, and I always encourage people to try to find a relationship, a friendship, like love and respect. Very, very important. Anyway, so this wasn't going to happen with this client and this lady, and that's when he kind of, oh, I got to call Nancy, and he starts a conversation. You're just going to chew me out. I said, well, you're going to go there first. Why don't you tell me the issue? And then we're talking, and I'm kind of moving on here. Uh, that so you're listening to me talk about this, and we're talking about a man who passed over, um, who was possessing not only the wife but the new lover, and it's jealousy. I thought to myself, wait a minute, this is a spirit person. They're not supposed to go there. Am I talking this is a man who passed over and could not go with? It looks like a mother figure to me. Very pleasant looking. Uh, the client. I don't know if you know what his mother looked like, but it's a mother figure, very smooth face, kind of a rounder, very pale coloring, not really too big, really soft, soft, soft. So she had extra padding all over her. Anyway, that's who was there to greet him, and he did not go. So at this point, I'm going to kind of step sideways and go, this gentleman is a conscious thinking ghost. He's not insane. He is creating havoc in his life because the control he had over his wife. He could not surrender that to death. Oh, think about that for a moment. Oh, hello. Sometimes I wish if it weren't 12 hours away,
Mhm.
but the problem is, he says to me, this is section 2, and we're slipping into 3. He says, do you think she would listen to me and understand that the husband's been possessing her and me? And I go, really? After she threatened you with police action? Hello. Stop trying to fix her. She is not and will not surrender her husband. So I want to say to you, if this happens in your life, everybody, hope not, that you cannot talk to somebody if they don't want to talk to you. By the way, I do want to talk to you. And by the way, you are possessed by your husband, your dead husband. Would you like me to take him off of you? Let me pull his body off it. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't dare. Yes, I have her name and where she lives. Yes, I could enter that space. But you think I want to get mixed up with a ghost who's jealous and he doesn't want to leave? Oh, hello. No. And someone said, we got to do a rescue. Yes, 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 yes. And you got to get to a place of realizing if the subject doesn't care to talk to the gentleman, what, ooh, the, that just cleared up really fast. Wow, that electrical hiss. Um, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I do talk to spirit people a lot. I see them. I feel them all the time. But that's because they're healthy, emotionally healthy. When someone passes and who they were in life is so much part of them in a spirit way that even when they pass over, it could take decades, 100 years or more, for them to morph out of the confinement of this life and all that it was to be able to progress to a healthy emotional state to be reincarnated if that person wants to. Not everybody has to. Excuse me if I take a deep breath. Oh my gosh. And I was telling him, I said, I'm going to do a show on you. This is amazing. And then he says, you know, Mr. J is sleeping with her. I go, okay. Well, he's in there distracting her from being emotionally healthy. And I says, do you not think that that husband has not brought that man to her to cloud her? If all that she is a sexual partner, then she also is not becoming emotionally healthy. She is not recovering from the passing or growing into an individual that can take care of their life. She's brought someone in to take care of her on that level. So not only do we have victim one, victim two, but now we have a third victim possession because Mr. J is now being told, would you come over and take care of my wife? Because I don't want the lover that she really liked, initially at least. Oh, he's nice looking and he's smart and he's got a career that he can do in multiple different places. Oh, hell, excuse me, H no. So Mr. J also now is intertwined in the energy of the possessing spirit slash ghost. Now I want to say it because spirit peoples aren't necessarily insane, but they can become, and he did initially. He probably was stepping out of his body, the controlling, excuse me, man that he was, and I'm going to keep it clean here, everybody. He got out of his body and said, oh, she needs me. I'm not going to leave. I got to be here for her. Then she called my client up and he went, oh no. Then he became insane because no one could listen to him. He couldn't rant. He couldn't control. He couldn't tell her. And I do believe this is more common. Oh, I don't even like saying it. More common than I want to admit to. And I have a lady friend who was writing a book about possessions. And I don't want anybody to write me and say, by the way, I have a child in prison. Does that mean that child was possessed? I don't know. I don't even want to go down that road. If it's true, what do we do about it? You want me to go through every prisoner in the whole state of California and see if they've been possessed at the time? Oh, hell, excuse me, HL, I'm not going to do that. I don't know everything. Thank goodness. Thank God. I just like tiptoeing through the daisies and discovering all these amazing situations all the time. Absolutely Godsmack. I've never seen a ghost jump from one body to another to possess the situation. Oh, okay. No, you cannot rescue her. She won't allow it. She won't let him talk to her. You cannot remove the ghost because he's possessing not only her, but when he was there. Now he's got Mr. J under his thumb. Now he's controlling two people in a house that he used to live. Now, how long will that go on? Until she dies? Possibly, unless she wakes up. So client asked, can we help her? No, I already told you, jumped all over this. Absolutely not. So the fix, until she becomes aware, you are there to help her. And since she forced you out, so helping her, she forced you out, it's the splitter. Pretty hard to get her attention again. Pretty hard to get her attention when her mind is being blocked by the dead husband. On top of that, do I say this? I suspect that her amorous feelings toward Mr. J is actually her husband, that he's possessing Mr. J. And so her relationships are now with her ex-husband and not with Mr. J. Mr. J is the vehicle. Oh, this has so many aspects of it. I just went nuts. I said, oh, Shar, this is good. We've got to talk about this one.
Quick
And so,
interruption. We got a question in the chat room. How can you stop a ghost possession?
first you have to know it's happening. Absolutely. And if you're not in tune to it, and that's where I was speaking to people who've committed crimes.
Mhm.
If they're high energy or on drugs, you could be masking the idea that someone is stepping into your body. It's a control over. And I would say to you, listen, how many times have you said, I just felt out of control. It felt like something, like I was doing something. It was just crazy. Like you have a terrible fight and you're out of control and you go, what is going on? And you have to go to a medical doctor and say, is there chemistry wrong in my brain? Or was I taken
Mhm.
over? You don't know all the time. Um, so I want to address this. Thank you who brought this up. I can't see. I've listened, looked at my notes. Oh, hello there, Marissa. I see you. Um, Human beings were shelled. We have the meat over the bones, and it's the jacket we're wearing for this lifetime. And you need to know who you are as a person. So the lady yesterday, I said to her, and I know she's watching too. Hello. Human beings need to evaluate their life. And she's very young. She's not yet old enough to retire. And she's looking at the freedom of making choices in her life. Very, very exciting. And deciding what she wants to do is her homework that night. I says, go home and on a piece of paper, even though I don't like to write all the time because I'm always taking notes. So for me to sit down, I sometimes have to go through my head. How many of us really know who we are? Wishes, wants, hopes, and desires. Have you ever thought about who you are as a person? When you do, and you realize, okay, this is who I am, this is what I'd like to do, this is my bucket list. My bucket list is very big. I'm not greedy. I just would like to go camping more often. I would take my computer and type a book up or two under a tree somewhere. I'm nuts for it. And so my bucket list is reasonable. Okay, so if you think you want to buy a yacht and travel around the world and you can't afford it, that's not very reasonable. Make it reasonable, make it easy, make steps to get to your goals, small steps. Human beings have a tendency to make big jumps. We think we can anyway. It's not that easy. And so when we start doing that, we start realizing how our temperament is. Who are you? And I tell people I'm very easy to be around. And I also mentioned once, my husband, we're both quieter person. Listen to me say that. And I talk all the time. I love doing this and entertaining you kids out there. And by the way, thank you, RSS Feed. I think it was Tuesday, last week's show. I had over 250. Shara needs to tell me how many people have downloaded the show. Facebook, YouTube doesn't reflect the big numbers. So you can't, it's amazing to me, RSS Feed around the world. So that's kind of fun. But anyway, so your homework is figure out who you are as a person and be comfortable in your skin. And with that, I know that I'm very easy to be around. And it's probably why the universe picked me to talk to people. I don't have
Mhm.
these huge back and forth. I've been an athlete, just very, I call myself very grounded. And for rightly so, I've worked on my issues. I know what I've been through and I admit to it. So you have a sense of your personage. And when it steps out of that barrier, if one day I start going crazy, I would then realize that something's really wrong with me. If it's not chemistry in my brain or my body's not sick, I'd be really questioning, is
Mhm.
someone attached? It must have been 2 or 3 years back. And I talked to Karen Rothstein. She's a hypnotherapist. I think her office is in Roseville, California, hypnotherapist, and we're doing a book on possessions. And this was going, I typed this right up and sent it to her. And we talked about it. One day she said, huh, you have someone on your back. I go, really? I didn't feel it at all. But it could have been, now that I remember, I was in a move. And so
Mhm.
sometimes when you're weakened or you drank too much alcohol, I don't drink alcohol, but if you put yourself in a weakened spiritual spot, the energy field has been worn down. And people on the spirit side go, oh, that looks like fun. I want to hitch a ride on her and experience the move. It's very a lot of energy. I'm an athlete. I can do this. Wore me out. This last one.
Mhm.
But at the same time, she picked it up. And so what I did, and this is what I do. It's not it's a form of meditation. But what I do is I think about my head, my hair. my neck, my shoulders, and I go down and I try to feel my life force surrounding my own flesh. And when it bumps into more energy or bumps into an emotion that's not mine, I go, ha, who are you? I didn't ask anybody to show up yet. There's a lot of spirit people around here. And one time someone told me, might have been Karen, they're standing in line because they know the relatives are going to show up a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That's okay. As long as they don't try to hitch a ride with me. It's tiring enough to do what I do. And I love it. I don't hide the fact that I'm 76 years old. And someone says, you want to retire? I said, oh, this is way too much fun. I really love it. I love discovering these kinds of dynamics of human nature. What the vice president, my client's possessed. Now the client got kicked out and the lovers come in. He's possessed. Oh, the Chihuahua. I just couldn't stand it. And it is troubling because then I realize, and this is the last part of it, is what free will do we really have? And if you have a spirit that's come in and possessed you, you will have a sense of your thoughts not being your own. You could go as far as saying, gee, that's not a hobby I normally, like a woman saying, I sure had a sense of wanting to go golfing or bowling or shooting a gun, and you never did it in your life. You got a hitchhiker, honey. How about strange foods? Absolutely. So there's a book I had read. She's since passed away. She had a heart transplant. And this woman, lovely lady, I saw her interviewed, Change of Heart. Change of Heart, the name of her book. Thank you, whoever just told me that. A Change of Heart. And she said it was a young man who unfortunately was on a motorcycle, who was early 20s, if I remember right. And she had a craving for French fries. Never ate French fries. She's a health nut, or trying to keep herself healthy until the heart transplant, right? And so when you are possessed, you also acquire unusual habits, hobbies, likes, and dislikes.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of other gentlemen, another one, can't remember what he got transplanted with, became interested in opera, in music, piano, and it was nothing that he was interested in before because the energy of that individual is part of that organ, which is strange because the power of that, if it was a kidney or liver, heart, changes your personality. The energy of that body intertwined with yours changes you. Makes no difference if there's no flesh attached to it. If someone is with his wishes, wants, hopes, and desires, and never finished what they like to do, and they attach to you, oh, yes. So, with that in mind, there is a movie I just ordered from my library, and I know we can order on TV, but I'd rather have a copy of it. It's called Down a Dark Hall. And it's a story about um, Thurman. I can't remember the lady's name. Uma Thurman has a part in the movie too. I thought I had written that on here notes and I didn't. Anyway, Down a Dark Hall is a place in the country. It looks like one of those Gothic mansions, right? Of course it does.
Mm-hmm.
It has to, right? Beautiful, beautiful, dark, dark, very dark. Anyway, that's a place where people can, if they have the money, can send their children who have an ability to go get training and control and readjustment. And it seemed like this place enjoyed specialized in women. So these young girls would go, teenagers,
Mm-hmm.
and the madam of the house, Alma Thurman, was in collaboration with spirit peoples who had never finished what they wanted to accomplish in life. So we had artisans, we had musicians, we had poets, we had mathematicians. And so when they were solicited, by the way, I have a child that needs to go into your place, they would interview the child or the parents to find out what the talents of these young girls, because in the Gothic home, Uma Thurman would give them special tutoring so they become better at what they do. And then all of a sudden you're watching each one of these girls being taken over by the spirit of a master or someone who never finished what they wanted to do. And I wanted to bring up, there is a woman, I was trying to Google it to find her. She claims to be channeling music from Richard Harrison. And I've heard of this happen before. If I'm wrong, I apologize. It's another famous musician. But she says that she loves doing it. She wakes up with a song in her head. She can hear him talking in the song. So anybody Google it, find out who it was if I got it wrong. But here's another example of channeling. The Seth Roberts material. Jane Roberts channeled an entity, and it actually killed her. The energy being possessed, taken over. But that was her choice. Edgar Casey, by choice, channeled also by choice, and it did kill him. And I think about that too. All these 33 years now, Charlotte's 33, when you changed the wordage here, 33 years that I've allowed energy time to give me information. But yet, I blend with people and become I can feel them thinking of who they are as a person. That's why people like talking to me. And that also takes energy. And people said to me, "Oh, I feel so much better when we hang out. Oh, I feel so good." I says, "Yeah, you got a tablespoon of me and you've kept it." In this case, this is negative. In this case, the spirit man, the dead husband, is going to zap the wife, my client, which he already did, and it exhausted him because my client said, I was so depressed I couldn't even leave the room at times. Well, that's because this man was causing him grief to get him out of the house. Now he's controlling the new lover, Mr. J. I tell you.
We got a question
So
in the chat room.
possession, thank you for the question.
Here's another one. I was just wondering if a borderline personality disorder could be more vulnerable,
Yes,
or even why the possessed person may be showing aspects of that BPD.
I think that's, thank you. Who is that? I love it.
Michelle. Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle. Hello, sweetie. The spirit person doesn't know that an individual will have this problem. Now, then the next thought would be, which brings up a whole new topic, I guess, people in insane asylums. Who really is insane and who really is possessed? Big question. I mean, that's too big for me to think about. How about the Middle Ages when people were thrown into insane asylums because they were on, women had that time month and hormones were raging? Really? I mean, how do we know? Absolutely. I think nowadays, and I'm an advocate, and I say to my clients, chemistry in the mind and the brain is off. And if I say that to you, or if the brain is dark, there's brain problems. And people always are coming back to me and say, how did you know that? I said, we are a vibration. We are energy. And I don't go into necessarily flesh as much as I go and monitor what parts of the body the energy is off, or what part of the body the bellowing is happening because there's an injury. More energy from other parts of your body bellows up on an injury, or something's wrong where the energy isn't flowing right, like in the brain. It's actually electricity, and I can measure that. Remember, I'm not a doctor, entertainment person, entertainment only, but I've been doing it for so long, 33 years. And it's easy to do that. No, I don't know every condition in the world. Thank goodness I'm not a doctor. But at the same time, I talked to a couple whose husband is a doctor, and I was going through and talking about the family and the mother, and I could feel dementia coming on. How do I do that? The electricity doesn't flow well. On top of that, there's darkness of depression, anxiety, and I can feel that. So when I'm in a bad space, if it's a spirit person, my husband says, I know when you're going to get a call, someone's depressed, because I actually hang my head. I act depressed. And I'm not a depressed type person. I'm so happy to be alive. Hello. I tell, we were doing a show the other night, and I said to the host, I've had so many close calls, I've used 7 of my 9 lives up, or cat, like a cat. So, I'm more grateful than not. And I love being alive. So when someone says to me, oh, what are you down for? I go, I like to get a call, sure. And so the energy can be felt even when I'm not aware of it. And so we do have to question mental illness. We have to question schizophrenic paranoia, borderline personalities. The thing I would speak to is watch that person, see if the chemistry is off, get it. And if that person is continually, year after year, has the same problems, it could be their the chemistry in their body. Because I don't know at times when I feel someone too close to me. It, so I've had health issues, and you always worry about possession, right?
Right,
And
right.
I come from a generation, Laura and Hardy. No, I'm not that old, but I was introduced to it when I do appreciate good comedy. And if you can make yourself happy, if you can make yourself externally laughing, there's something. What was I just watching? A modern movie, Jumanji with the new people. The second one, I had it on for a few minutes, and
Mm-hmm.
it's Danny DeVito, and he is the hunk. It was so funny. I went, oh, I could just see this Danny DeVito on the side laughing because the hunk is supposed to be him. And it just made me laugh. And I realized if you had this attachment, they can't stay on you when you're happy. They want to stay on you when you're not happy. They want to stay on you when
Mm-hmm.
you're doing the piano or whatever they were addicted to or drugs. But if you're really happy, oh, nah, they don't like that. They fall right off. The vibrations have to meld for them to be able to stay. So by changing how you are perception of your world, I'm glad to be alive. Hello, I want to take a drive. My husband and I are going to go to Oroville Dam and walk the dam. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Put you in a happy space. Go outside. We've been working in the yard. Happy space. Spirit doesn't want, if spirit is emotionally unhealthy, they don't want to be around you when you're like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it knocks the person off. Absolutely.
Well,
Oh, you love Lord Hardy?
that
Huh?
is why, as a ghost hunter, when when we take the team out on location, we discourage people who aren't feeling well.
Oh, there we have a gentleman, Dad, California.
Yep, Dad Cal. How
Is
you
that,
doing,
I can't
buddy?
see.
Yeah, it's Dad Cal.
DOD or DAD?
It's
Huh?
DAD. It's Dad Cal. How you doing, buddy? He's a longtime fan. And
Is he?
Michelle and
Nice
Marisa.
meeting
Yeah.
you. And Michelle
Yes.
and Marissa.
Yes.
Very lovely. This is a great topic to have to talk about
But
because
yeah, but as a
when you
rule,
think
yeah,
of
paranormal investigators do not allow people to come out
yes,
who aren't feeling well or have or really physical problems that are bothering them on that particular day, because that's what the ghosts or whatever you're dealing with will hit first.
oh yeah, being emotionally unhealthy, there isn't a person alive that we haven't had trials and tribulations.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows I divorced my first husband 6 months after, well, about 3 months after my cancer treatments ended from cancer for the entire year. Very unhealthy emotionally because you go to a place realizing if you marry at 19 and 20, because we dated for 4.5 years before we got married, we were so in love. Everybody says, marry the kids, hurry, hurry. I knew Mass Catholic wedding. I was telling somebody the other day, I said, Catholics don't believe in you're going to be put in the ground and come up sometime in the future, right? And high noon mass wedding, we were on our knees. My husband's, my future husband sat right there. And I saw Spirit Man. He was walking up and down. I was making fun of us going up and down. And I looked at him and I go, what are you? It's like, I'm not supposed to be there. I'm seeing dead people. We're at a Catholic church. You're supposed to stay in the ground until the Christ man comes back, and here I'm seeing all these dead people walk around. Sorry, just like I tell the certain people that, they go, really, Nancy? I go, yeah. So anyway, it was a very fun. You had fun. I hope you had fun with this topic tonight. But we can talk about children being possessed. Spirit
Mm-hmm.
people love that. They love the energy and they love the activity. And if a child, someone talked to me once, it's been a few months. I think it was a show, and then someone touched base. Let me know who it is. Someone, they did like the idea that children don't have soldiers. And this is how I feel. And I was just listening to an old Coast to Coast with Art Bell. And he had a couple of people on who do ghost investigations. And Barbara McLean or something. I'm going to have to look her up. I know she's at least my age or a couple of years older.
Mm-hmm.
And they did ghost investigation. And I so believe this, that when we pass over, I am clearly 10, 15 years out. I'll have to retire. My voice may be gone, but I'm older. But when I was 29, everybody, I was a hottie. Why would I want to show up old, except for maybe my kids? Everybody else are going to see me at 29. I was a nice looking, athletic woman. And so there are people that cannot handle their life. Maybe they had a better childhood, but their teenage years, they got in trouble, they got in prison, they got out, they got killed, or they had trials and tribulations, terrible, terrible. And you go back, and even the kids in the room, I say to you, think of the happiest time in your life. That age is probably how you're going to look. Over the years, I've realized that people, the spirit people say, this just happened. I'm talking to a very older lady. I only feel 30 inside. I said, that's pretty common. You get older, your mind feels younger. But you look in there. I remember my grandmother, my father had a gift. It was her that had the gift, and then her mother. And she was a movie star. I'm going to put a book together, her poems to her son. And I'm using as the backs of each, you look at a page, a stage photograph of her being in a play, like the movie, a series on TV called Dallas, where you have all the people, Kardashians is the typical now, where they have fights and they can't get along, but they're all beautiful people. Well, she's one of those beautiful people, and she was on stage, and she was just gorgeous, 5'1" or 2", with the hair, mane, lots of blonde curly hair, and yeah, look at this. I get it from the Indian side, my mother's side. But she was absolutely gorgeous. And I remember her when she started to lose her sight. She had glaucoma. And everybody knows I had eye surgery. I had all kinds of things going on, but I did not have glaucoma. So I had to have that taken care of too. And she looked at it one day and she says, I can't believe I'm the old lady in that room. I only feel 30 inside. And it stayed with me forever. Because unfortunately, I'm dark like the Indian side. I had oily complexion. I've had nothing done. Everybody, it's just luck. You can see I'm aging here, but I'm grateful that she had the dry skin, the very beautiful movie star look. And I remember as she got older, her face looked like a potato chip that had been cracked. So we establish an age in our life of when we want our line to be. And children, when they're happy, they're the happiest they're going. And so sometimes spirit people will back up to the age of happiness, and a lot of them is a childhood. So when you hear a recording of a child, it's not necessarily a child. It's an old person wishing to be a child again. And that happens a lot. Preteen age seems to be another. Um, I was pretty happy as a 10, 11, 12-year-old. I was very athletic. When we were growing up, we had the metal skates. You put your foot in and then it clamped over your shoe. And we had big, heavy bicycles. And we had a park. And I was on the gym equipment. Hallelujah, get me outside. Clearly, I must have been a man in the past life because I'm very much a woman, but I was always doing this sort of thing. I'm really a risk taker. Really good time in my life. So would I go back to the age or would I go back to 29? I like 29 because I was adult and I had my children. And I was driving my Volkswagen. And just before my birthday, I said, I like who I am today. And so you have always said that at some time. And that's the age of wisdom. If you show up, if I see you, you'll look that way. When I do client sessions, the spirit people show up and you can find them in photographs. The other day I was talking to a lady who was Norwegian, and she married a Norwegian. But I saw a dark-skinned lady, short and squatty with ample bosoms, and I says, what side of the family is that? And she says, well, I says, they usually show themselves knowing that you're going to look at the books, find the relatives. So this is who's with your daughter. The daughter's not died, but internal. So this woman was going to help her. And I knew this client was blonde, blue-eyed blonde, her husband was blue-eyed blonde. The one he had died. So I couldn't figure out how to do that. My family, English, Irish, Scotch, one side of the family married cowboys and Indians. So in the DNA also found a 13% Portuguese. 13% Portuguese that contributes to dark hair too, but that's on the side of the family. So. But my grandmother, who I look like, is very dark. I'm kind of like, when you get older, you get pale. And I don't want to show this body out of those days. I'd rather be 29. And so being a child, you go to the investigation. I'm trying to say on a thread here. You can catch that. If you see a child, hear a child, ask them how long they've been there. Ask them why they're there. And then have them tell you a story of their life. And see if you can get more than 5 years worth. Most of the time you will get a lot. And verification of children's reincarnation stories, Facebook, YouTube, they'll talk to the parents and say, when I was your dad, or last time I was big and you were small. It's amazing, the stories. And they'll come back as a child because they want to experience childhood if they couldn't grow up. One little boy said, you're going to let me grow up, aren't you? Another said, what are you talking about? Well, I had a mom before that wouldn't let me grow up. So if that child had died, it's the turmoil of not wanting to be with the mother, but then wanting, because children, like a horse, you ever heard the expression, a horse will run back to a burning barn? Because that's where they think they'll be safe. Well, a child will stay with the parent even if they're being mistreated, because they know that that's the parent. So even in trials and tribulations, if that child would have passed over, it would still look like that. But adults would also go back to that younger age of innocence. So most of the time, it's not a child. When I've seen, and people talk to me about, because I do this a lot, who've greeted my family member, and I'll be able to describe, and a lot of times the children either taken by what we call ancestral being, and I've actually saw kind of like a bigger ancestral being, kind of like just cradled the child with you. It was so tapped into. You could see this, those psychics. You could see what I'm looking at. It was like the angels you see on YouTube coming in as a blast. Just amazing. It gives me goosebumps. I thought, oh my gosh.
Okay, you're having audio issues again. I don't know what it is. But yeah, you're definitely having some audio issues. So we have a choice. We can stop here and continue next week. I have an opening on Wednesday. We can continue on Wednesday with this.
Okay.
And and hopefully by then, it's probably internet issues because when I did a speed test, not on my end, though, it's probably on your end, through your internet holder, because even when I did my test, we were hitting low. I was hitting low on my end, but I haven't flashed out or anything, so it's probably it's probably what's going on in your neck of the woods. So let's do that. Let's continue this Wednesday. Okay. Okay. All right. It's a good show, though. That was a great show. Yeah, you're garbled. You're garbled. It's painful. Yeah. So anyway, guys, Nancy will come back on Wednesday, and we will continue this discussion. And I hope you guys were ready. I heard a lot of it, but I mean, there were times when it was garbled. But that's all right. We'll live. Anyway, Monday, Chris Evers will be with me, and we're going to be talking about UFO designs. What shapes do UFOs come in? So that's what we're going to be doing Monday. That'll be 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Sunday, of course, I'll be back here reading the Werewolf book, which is an interesting book. Hopefully, it won't be in Scandinavian language this time, so I can get through it, which is a great laugh anyway, right? But that's what I'm going to be doing on Sunday. And again, Chris Evers will be with us on Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. So I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Nancy, thank you so much. It was great as always. Very informative. I'm sorry the internet was like it was, but there's a lot of news going on, you guys. You got to cut us some slack with the internet. There's a lot, going on. I'm not going to say what, but you guys know. If you know, you know, right? So I want to thank you all for coming tonight. If you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. Free equal opportunity here, California Haunts Radio. Just trying to get the word out of our little show. You can pick up Nancy's information on the description of the show, so everything's there. Her contact information, how to set up a booking with her, and all her books that she has at her website. So just check that out in the description of the show. Okay, guys, I will see you guys on Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific. Have a great weekend.
It was